Hi there, my name is Jessica O'Reilly, and I am a sexologist with a research background in training teachers to deliver effective sex education, and in Ontario in particular. So I thought I would talk a little about the new sex ed curriculum that is set to be unveiled shortly, because I've been doing many TV and radio interviews on the topic, and I think it would be useful to put it all in one place. So I'll start by saying that back in 2010, I did see a draft version of the curriculum, and it was a huge improvement over the outdated curriculum that we're currently still using, that in fact predates most of our students. Yes, it's older than most of the kids who are learning it in school. Now, I'll start by saying the curriculum was developed in consultation with thousands of people, including teachers and parents and students and a range of organizations from all sides of the fence. And most importantly, it's a fact and science-based curriculum. When we look at sex education in Canada, we see that parents are overwhelmingly supportive. So 85% of parents across the country support comprehensive, broadly based sexual health education in schools on a range of subjects, from reproduction and anatomy to healthy relationships and even pleasure. So I thought we could look at some of the criticisms with regard to the questions I've been receiving regarding this new curriculum. So one of the major criticisms that's hot today involves the suggestion that we should be teaching consent from a very young age, consent in grade 1 in particular. And I think this is a very good thing, because we are not teaching sexual consent. It's about their bodies, and it's about owning their own space. And these are foundational skills that that will be transferable into sexual relationships down the road in 10, 20 years. These foundational skills will have a greater impact, and a lasting one, if we start younger. So when they do reach their mid-late teenage years and find themselves perhaps dating or considering dating or dealing with sexual attraction, they'll be better prepared to communicate their needs and respond to the ways in which their peers and partners communicate with them. So that's my thought on teaching sexual consent in grade 1. I think consent can be taught from an even younger age. For instance, if your child is being asked to give somebody a hug and they don't want to, that's an opportunity to teach them that you're right, it's your choice. So there's some empowerment there. Another criticism with regard to the new curriculum involves teaching about same-sex relationships at a young age. Well, this is just something that's integrated into our programming and should be. We shouldn't even have to teach about same-sex relationships, because they're not special. They're no more special than an opposite-sex relationship. And in a very diverse and beautifully, a culture that celebrates this diversity, I look out my window and I think that the kids in my neighborhood don't need to learn about same-sex relationships, because they're all around us. Some of our neighbors are same-sex couples, some of them are opposite-sex couples, some of them are singles, and this is just a part of how they're growing up. So from the moment you're born, you learn about an opposite sex relationship if your parents are opposite sex. And from the moment you're born, you learn about a same-sex relationship if your parents are same sex. So it's not as though this needs to be taught at a particular age. Young people can learn about a range of relationships at any point in time. Another criticism, and I think a real hot button issue, regards anal sex being taught in grade 7 or 8. And this is the reality. We're not teaching how to have anal sex. We're teaching about safety, just as we do with vaginal intercourse. So a sex-positive approach involves minimizing the negative outcomes and maximizing and acknowledging the positive outcomes. So this is around perhaps STI transmission and the prevention of that. With vaginal intercourse, it may have to do with pregnancy prevention. So this curriculum addresses anal sex, as some students opt to engage in anal, regardless of how they identify in terms of sexual orientation. But we do need to update to reflect not only the diversity of acts that students are engaging in, but also the diversity of sexual identity, which is a core part of who we are. I think this is probably a good time to mention and highlight the fact that we have a rich body of research that tells us that teaching about sex does nothing to hasten the onset of sexual activity. So if we talk about sex in the classroom, they don't think all of a sudden, oh, we should try that. That's not the way it works. We're animals, and young people know what these things are already. So I think another really important part with regard to the new curriculum is that it reflects a more current landscape of what relationships look like in the age of digital media. It needs to reflect our province's diversity and the fact that if we don't give students answers, they go to Google, they go to YouTube. It's at their fingertips. Young people have more data than they know what to do with, but they don't have the context to understand and reconcile that data. And that's where sex education in the classroom and at home comes in. So we need to work, teachers need to work with parents who are teaching their kids that sex should only occur in marriage as effectively as teachers work with parents who are teaching their kids that sex is a lot of different things and occurs in a range of relationships and scenarios, and a fact-based, science-based curriculum that acknowledges the diversity of experiences and perspectives, including abstinence, does just that. So we need to make sure that we're communicating with parents and the lines of communication are open so that when a student comes home and says to their parents, we learned about this today, the parent feels at least a little bit prepared to say, oh, okay, what did you learn? And you don't have to have all the answers. Nobody does. I'm always telling teachers that students are going to stump us. Man, they are smart. And as I said, they have more access to information than it seems we do. It's okay to kind of acknowledge our limitations. So we provide the information in the classroom, and the parents can help to reconcile the science with their personal values, whether those be cultural, religious, or familial. You know, I want to end by saying that sex ed is about empowerment. It's about making our students feel comfortable with their bodies, prepared to advocate for themselves in healthcare settings, and confident enough to negotiate relationships that are lasting and healthy and loving and underscored by honesty and equality and respect and, of course, consent. So with regard to the curriculum, I hope there are no further delays, and I really hope that the silent majority will speak up. Thank you. If you're looking for more information on me, I'm at Sex with Dr. Jess on all social media.